Cinderella. Once upon a time, in a magical kingdom, there lived a sweet and gentle girl named Cinderella. She had a loving father, but sadly, he married a woman with 2 daughters who were not very nice at all. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were mean to her, making her do all the chores and treating her unfairly. One day, some exciting news spread throughout the kingdom. The royal palace was hosting a grand ball, and everyone was invited. Cinderella's heart leaped with joy at the thought of going to the ball. But her wicked stepmother and stepsisters were determined to keep her at home, away from the prince and the beautiful ball. As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella found herself stuck with even more chores. She felt sad and lonely, wishing she could go to the ball like everyone else. It seemed like all hope was lost. But one evening, something magical happened. Cinderella's fairy godmother appeared, with a wave of her wand and a sprinkle of stardust. She transformed Cinderella into a dazzling princess. Her rags turned into a beautiful gown, and on her feet were the most exquisite glass slippers. However, the fairy godmother warned Cinderella that the magic would only last until midnight, so she must leave the ball before then. Cinderella thanked her fairy godmother and promised to be back in time. At the royal palace, the ball was in full swing. The prince, who had been feeling quite bored until then, was instantly captivated by Cinderella's beauty when she arrived. They danced, talked, and laughed together, and for Cinderella, it was a dream come true. But as the clock struck midnight, Cinderella remembered her promise to her fairy godmother. She had to leave before the magic wore off. In her haste, she left behind one of her glass slippers on the grand staircase as she rushed out of the palace. The prince was determined to find the owner of the glass slipper. He searched the entire kingdom, and finally, he arrived at Cinderella's house. Her stepsisters tried to squeeze their feet into the tiny glass slipper, but it was no use. It only fit one person perfectly, Cinderella. When Cinderella put on the glass slipper, it was as if it had been made just for her. The prince knew he had found his true love. He proposed to Cinderella, and she happily accepted. They were married in a grand ceremony, and Cinderella went from being a servant to a princess. Cinderella's kindness and goodness had won the heart of the prince, and they lived happily ever after in the royal palace. Her stepsisters, who had treated her so poorly, learned the importance of kindness and were also forgiven. And so, the story of Cinderella teaches us that no matter how difficult things may seem, kindness and goodness will always be rewarded. And dreams can come true with a little bit of magic and a lot of love.